I will miss this one day. And so, while I'm still here, why not cause as much chaos as possible?
Kamaru Usman, welcome to TNT Sports. How are you, sir?
Wonderful.
You're looking tremendous, like
Thank
a
you.
man that is ready to rock and roll at the weekend.
We're getting there. We're getting there.
This is not a new thing for you, short notice fights. In Abu Dhabi, you did 6 days.
Yeah.
10, 11 days is
Actually,
loads of time.
Even shorter than 6 days. For me, it was like 4 days, because remember that whole process. You had to quarantine in Vegas for a whole day, then fly a whole day to get here, and then after landing, you had to quarantine for 2 days, then weigh in, fight. So for me, it was much less, but hey, it's not new.
Listen, there's a lot of fighters out there that talk the talk, my man. There's not that many that walk the walk. Talk me through that phone call. When that comes in, you've just done your gym session. Hey, do you fancy going on a little trip across the world for an opportunity that might propel you into two-weight stardom? What do you think?
Yeah, it was one of those, just got done from the gym and I'm walking through Target and I hit the call and my manager's smiling and I'm just like, oh, what happened? He's like, how do you feel about this? I already know what to know, but how do you feel about this? I'm like, hold on one second. I hang up and I call my coaches. I'm like, hey guys, I have an opportunity. Nobody talked me out of it. And so for me, it was already, because I think they probably already kind of knew where I was leaning towards. But for me, I'm just kind of in a season of just gratitude. How often do you get an opportunity? And I've been blessed with so many opportunities to be able to entertain the world, but for a highly anticipated fight like this that people care about. It's not many, there's a lot of fighters that fight and they're done. They have tons of fights in the UFC and they're done and people don't really remember. So being blessed with an opportunity like this to be able to go out and in a sense, I guess, shock the world, even though it should be the other way around. It's a blessing.
Fans always remember gangster moves, man. And this is one of those gangster moves. Is it slightly easier, this one? Because it's been rumoured for a long time that you two would meet.
I wouldn't say easier because you still have those nerves and you're still scared and anxious and excited. So if you didn't have those nerves, I'd be wondering like, something's wrong with you. But yeah, it's one of those things that he's kind of been on the radar. He's been looming around, but everyone knows I'm a welterweight, of course. That doesn't mean I can't handle middleweight. I can handle them, but I'm a welterweight. And that was where I thought, that's where he staked his claim. He said he was a welterweight. He wanted to be the welterweight champion. He's ranked at welterweight. So it only made sense. Okay, if you want to be the best, let's fight at welterweight. But then, he couldn't make the weight a couple of times. He missed the weight a couple of times, which is, a little bit unprofessional. But take nothing away from him. He's as advertised. He's big, strong, can grapple, can wrestle. He's a tough dude, which is why I think a lot of people see the potential, which is why a lot of people like that, and they're excited about what he could be. But it's okay for me to give him that opportunity that, yeah, you could be that. I'm not saying you can't be that in the future. Maybe just not right now. Maybe slow down a little bit. So, we'll see on Saturday.
What's your plan then with weight? Is this kind of, okay, I'm going to go and be middleweight now, or are you still prepared to fight at welter? What's the situation?
Of course, I'm fighters fight. So whether it's middleweight, welterweight, let's fight. If it makes sense, of course. And I know a lot of people said, why would you take this fight? Does it make any sense for you? You're welterweight, you're the top at the welterweight. Why don't you just stay there, But like I said, that opportunity to be able to do something that's monumental. And fighters fight. We step in there, we lay it all on the line, and we take big risk, comes big reward. And so a lot of people knew why I didn't want to go to middleweight. Izzy was the champ and I was the champ. Everybody just wanted to see me go fight Izzy, and I wasn't interested in that. And I'm still not interested in that. So Izzy has stated that he's going to take a little hiatus. So while he's gone, why don't I keep that belt warm for him? And when he comes back, then we'll talk about the logistics of our weights. But I definitely, I would say this here, I plan on definitely getting this middleweight belt and then taking that welterweight belt as well.
Well, for people that question this path, I think it makes an awful lot of sense, because this surely, a win at the weekend, catapults you immediately into title contention against the guy that you've already beaten. It makes perfect sense, doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it definitely does. I mean, the fans just, fans are very, what's the word? They're very, they think about the moment. And that's it. They don't really look at the history of what's happened and what's going on. The guys, the champion at middleweight, I've already beat. Champion at welterweight, I've already beat. The two guys fighting for the welterweight belt, I've already beat. So it makes a lot of sense.
And it also gives you leverage to go back down and fight for a championship belt at 170. Nobody's done that before. Nobody's gone up and come down. They've gone up to win and become champs, but nobody's gone the other way around.
Yeah, and I will do it.
I can see the glint in your eye that that's the plan. I know where you're at. Regarding this fight at the weekend, I've always felt when I've spoken to you, it's not necessarily about the trinkets and the belts and all this type of stuff. It's about competition. About everybody says this about this guy, I'm going to go and show you what's what. Is that the real driving force, the thing that keeps you in there?
100%. Like I said, one day, one day in the short future, I'm going to be sitting at home talking to my kids and my daughter, and I'm just like, I used to do that. And they're like, what? I'm like, yeah, I used to do that. I was the bad dude. I was the top of that. And it's so easy, like for me, it just seems like time's moving so fast right now that, you're gonna miss those moments. I've been around some of the legends and being able to speak with them and understand where they're at and their head's at. And they all say the same thing. And so I have to lean on those experiences and understand that I will miss this one day. And so, while I'm still here, why not cause as much chaos as possible?
I love the chaos, man. I love that you're causing it. You've been competing for years, wrestling, MMA, all these things, and you've obviously suffered professional defeats at certain points in your career. What have you learnt in this last year, I suppose? Obviously, because we've not, as fans of the UFC, we've not seen you in this position before, coming off back-to-back losses. What have you learnt about yourself?
I think the big part is just kind of silencing the noise and starting to fall in love with the sport again. And try to decide whether there's this struggle that you have, this internal struggle, where you're training every day, but you don't necessarily see the percentage difference, the better you're getting. You're just like, I'm just training, I'm not fighting, or, you just feel kind of tired, you feel kind of burnt from all of that. But the great thing about it is, no one necessarily is blowing you up. Hey, you got to go do this interview. You have to go do this. You have to go here. You have to do that. And so kind of having that calm down a bit. I'm still doing stuff. I was just in Italy not too long ago. And so still getting those opportunities, but now I have the opportunity to just be home, be with my daughter and just train like it was when I started. So I've been able to cherish that. And this one was kind of like, well, yeah, hell yeah, why not? Fly across the world and go beat up some guy.
How much are you looking forward to not cutting weight this week? Or not cutting as much weight?
Not cutting as much weight. Not cutting as much weight. I'm looking forward to it, but at the same time, it's not too much because it's part of the job. It's part of the gig. That's the first battle that you need to fight before you get that privilege to step in there on Saturday. And so I am still going to cut a little bit of weight, and I don't want to come in too heavy. I might weigh in at 82 or something. I still want to feel a little bit of that. You feel a little bit of that first battle before that big battle. But right now, basically, you see it on my Instagram, 85 might be a little battle right now. So, but it's, I'm just enjoying it, just living in the moment.
For the people that are going to be tuning in at the weekend, what are we going to see?
It depends on him. I think you could see one of the most entertaining fights you've ever seen. Or depending on what he does, it could be just a one-sided fight. So everyone knows my style. It could be entertaining depending on the opponent, if they did their homework. But if they didn't do their homework, then it could be just a quick, one-sided finish.
I think when we speak to a lot of fans, obviously fans remember the recent things, don't they? There's a yardstick here. You've been in with Gilbert Burns. He's been in with Gilbert Burns. If you look at both of those fights, they're very different playouts. Okay, yours is a little bit scheduled for a little bit longer, but they're very different playouts.
Yeah.
This, at the weekend, is an elite mixed martial arts contest between two guys right at the top of the game.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's always been styles make fights. I never try to necessarily use that as a measuring stick that, oh, this guy beat that guy, so I definitely should be able to
MMA
do
maths
that.
doesn't always work.
Yeah, it doesn't always work. But for me, it's something different that I look at in the guys. Is what I think they might have learned from those fights. And I think, and hopefully if Khamzat is who I think he is, then I think he learned a tremendous amount from that fight. So for me, it's just being able to go in there and do what I do, is make him think. But, you know, he's as advertised. Make no mistake about it. I'm giving him all the respect in the world. He's tough. He can wrestle. He can grapple. So can I. So we'll see who's the best man.
Mate, listen, we're looking forward to it. Kamaru, thanks for being
Thank you.
back in Abu Dhabi, and we're looking forward to the fight of the weekend.
Thank you.
My friend.